Hi, everybody. I'm Hector Garcia, CPA. Once again, I'm an accountant that loves QuickBooks Online and uses QuickBooks Online all day, every day. However, often find myself super annoying with the design choices that QuickBooks makes. For example, bank feeds is awesome. All the transactions get downloaded from the bank. I can categorize them from here. If I expand any transaction, I get this screen that gives me a whole bunch of options: transaction type, account, to, from, class, location, product and service, client, project, a place for a memo, tags, a couple of buttons here like post, split, create, rule, exclude. Everything in here is great. The problem is that half of the screen, or actually like 80% of the screen, is being taken by this because this area here, the AI automatic suggestion categorization, which I often ignore, I don't even look at, I think is complete garbage. And I don't want that. It just takes way too much of my screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to use ChatGPT to help me build a little code that will sort of get rid of that permanently for me so I don't have to look at that. And I will have all these buttons be spread across the screen so I can see more of the transactions on the bottom, which could be contextual while I'm categorizing. The problem is that no matter how much I zoom, and anytime I open this transaction, it literally takes the whole screen, and I want to be able to see the other transactions, but also want to have all my control. So hopefully that makes sense and you kind of understand the challenge that I'm having. So the way I'm going to approach this is, first I'm going to tell ChatGPT, I'm going to give it ChatGPT a screenshot, okay? And then I'm going to tell it exactly what I'm trying to achieve. So first, simple, just do a screenshot and then go to ChatGPT, upload that screenshot, and we're going to tell it, this is what the QuickBooks Online downloaded bank transaction screen looks like, comma. I'm going to give you a little bit more context, and you're going to help me create some code that I can inject into the browser's console so to make the screen just much more usable for me. So analyze the screen first, and then I'm about to give you the additional context. So that's what I do. I usually just give it a screenshot and start like that. Let it think, let it look at. It's going to do its analysis. It's going to tell you what it's reading, what's on the left, what's on the side, what's on the top. That's the initial context. So you have to kind of let ChatGPT know what your starting point is. I'm immediately going to switch over to back to the browser. I'm going to right click anywhere on the screen, and I'm going to click on this button that says inspect. That takes me to the element inspector. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste some of the HTML code that is being rendered on the page, because what I'm modifying is I want to get rid of this chunk of information here. So I'm going to grab the code here, and I'm going to try to grab some element that encompasses, like that's perfect, that encompasses the entire box. So I'm going to grab this and I'm going to copy it, just copy the element, right? That way I can send it to ChatGPT, and then I'm going to give it some additional context, right? So now it did its analysis. Okay, that's fine. And then I'm going to go wait until it finishes its analysis, and I'm going to paste the code in there to tell it exactly what I want to do. So we'll just wait for that to finish. Okay. So the next thing is, now I grabbed the HTML from the element of a transaction that I opened, just so you can see all the content in code of the transaction that's open. But then I'm going to tell you the specific part that I don't want to see after I apply this script. Okay. Then I'm going to just paste that in there and press enter. So that's the second layer, right? So we sent it a screenshot first. It analyzed it. Then we sent it the entire HTML code, right? You're looking at this code, and this looks like Greek, and that's fine. Okay, that ChatGPT knows what it means, and that's really all that matters. But now all this code, that entire code, is this entire field over here that's highlighted blue. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find the element that encompasses as much as that left line. Say maybe this. Okay, so we'll click there. So that's it. That area right there is what I selected, and that should be good enough. So I'm going to copy that piece and go back into ChatGPT, which is probably still analyzing. Okay, so it started writing some code, and again, I don't know why it's writing code. I don't even know what this code would do. So like, I'm not even gonna like bother with what this code does. I'm just gonna tell it exactly what I want to see. So what I want to see here is, okay, I don't know what the code you gave me does. I'm gonna ignore that, period. What I want you to do is I want you to essentially remove the element that I'm about to paste for you. That way, all the other elements in the screen reposition themselves. So that area that I gave you at the beginning is much smaller, and I can see I can see the other elements in the screen. Okay. So hopefully that wasn't confusing. Okay. I know that was a lot of words, but it's still typing stuff. That's fine. So I'm gonna now paste that second piece of the code, and hopefully now it starts understanding what I want. At this point, this might be enough, so we can start testing, and then after the testing, we will kind of see how that works. So let's wait for that to finish coding. Okay, here we go. So it says one-time remove current overlay. Okay, sticky remove keeps killing QuickBooks re-renders on the overlay. I believe that second one is probably the one that I want. So I'm gonna copy that second one, come into back into bank feeds. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch over from elements to console. Okay, so it's in this same, right-click inspect tab. It's the same one, but I have to be on console, right? That way I can paste the code in there. One thing that I always like to do is kind of clear what's in there now by clicking on that little clear button. That way I kind of have blank slate. Then I'm going to paste the code in there. Again, I don't know what this code means. I know nothing about code, okay? But I'm going to paste the code, press enter. Hopefully it will do what I wanted to do. So I'm going to press enter. Okay, so it did that. It removed that, okay? But it wasn't exactly what I wanted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a screenshot of the result. And let's do a screenshot here and show it that. Okay, go back into ChatGPT. I'm gonna say that worked, comma, it removed the element, period. However, I don't want that gray space to be there. I kind of wanted the other elements inside that gray box to move up, so the overall size of that gray box is smaller and I can see the transactions under it. Okay, I'm gonna say, here's a screenshot of what it looks like after that element is removed. Okay, then I'm gonna upload that screenshot here and then see if that's enough for it to understand what I'm trying to achieve. Again, I did give it the instructions at the beginning. Maybe it wasn't clear. I am using the voice command. So I'm sure there's a lot of words that are not organized in the exact same way that artificial intelligence would understand. But again, this is the iterative process of doing this. So we'll wait until that code comes up and then we'll test it. Okay, there we go. So it gave me some new code. So it says we'll remove the AI panel, collapse the overlay for height and fit, make the side left pan the full width. Okay, let's see if that works. So I'm going to copy the code. And at this point, because I've already started messing with the code, I'm going to refresh the banking screen, right? You kind of have to do that to make sure that you're working on what otherwise would be a fresh version of the screen, right? So I'm going to open it up just so I can see what that looks like. I'm gonna go back into the console here, right? I have to make sure that I am in the console mode, and I'm clearing the console so it's blank. Okay, just make sure it's blank and nothing else is loading. Paste that code in there, press enter. Okay, so it did remove the element, but it didn't resize. So we will give it, just zoom out a little bit, and I'm just gonna try it one more time. Let me look at the next one. Okay, so that's suggesting things in there. Let me see. Let me paste that. Okay, so every time I click on one and the other, it does remove the element, but then it brings it back. So I'm gonna hit paste. Okay, so every time so that's good. At least it's removing that piece every time I put the code in, but of course, now we gotta tell the code to be a little bit more persistent. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a screenshot of this. Take a screenshot and continue insisting. So I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to upload the screenshot. Okay, so we got two things. One, the code is successfully removing the element, but it's not resizing the area that I wanted to take the entire space. And then let's just make sure that this is not being confused with my voice commands. And then number 2 is, and it keeps showing back up once I click on the next transaction. So the script itself is not persistent. Okay. So I gave it those 2 pieces of information with the screenshot. So again, it should be obvious that gray space is still there. And then the fact that it's not, that is showing back up on the next transaction. So let's see what it comes up with this time. There we go. So it's trying again. So make sure the left takes the full width, collapse the gray box, and keep it so it's persistent. Okay, that's a much longer code. Okay, that's good. Hopefully that's going to have the information. Let me copy the code, go back into bank transactions, refresh this page. I know I have it way zoomed out at the moment, but again, we're just trying to kind of appreciate the script and what it does. So let me, I'm going to open one up just so I can see. Close that up. Clear. Paste the code. It removes it. Okay. It's not still fixing the formatting issue, but let me see if in the next transaction it shows up. Okay, good. Okay, not showing up on the next transaction. So we're making some progress here. Okay. We're killing the AI suggestions. I love it. Okay, perfect. Okay, so there we go. So we're removing that. Good. So we're not being distracted by that. So we got half the battle done. And by the way, if I'm not gonna fill that screen with this information, then there's really no point of killing it, right? I'm only killing it because I want the space, not because it bothers me. Because if I'm not gonna do anything with it, and there's nothing I can do about that, then I don't care about it. But it's really what I want is this to fill all the information. So let me see if maybe I can select the elements here. So yeah, so it looks like it is. It looks like the elements, it looks like there's sort of a blank element in here. Let me see. Okay. Let me, I'm gonna take a screenshot of it like looking like this. Maybe maybe I'll understand it. Let's see if we go this route. Okay, let's upload that screenshot. Okay, great. It is persisting now, period. Now, for some reason, it's not taking over the space. Take a look at this screenshot while I put my cursor over the element. That purple area you see there, I need that gone because I need the stuff that's on that bluish area to kind of like spread through the same area where that purple is right now. Okay, so that should be good enough. I'm gonna do one more thing, which is give it the code too. So let's come back here. Right here. Copy. And I'm gonna say here is the code from that element I sent you the screenshot. Okay, let's see if that helps. Okay, again, I wish it would do everything I want. I read my mind on the first try, but it's tricky, right? And again, I don't know any code. So if I knew code, I could probably read through the code and say, this is the particular piece and the sizing and the width that I want you to remove. But because I don't know any code, I'm doing what people call vibe coding, then this is all I have, right? It's just me sending screenshots, me keep trying it, and it takes a little bit longer. I'm sure if you're a developer watching this, you're like, Hector, you could have done XYZ and it could have just done it, okay? So now it's trying a new thing, which is a CSS override. That's pretty interesting. So we'll see what that is. So here's the code. So let's see. So it says paste this once in your code. I just wonder if this one also takes care of the original code. Is this code complete, comma, or can you give me the combined code that does everything that I'm asking for? Okay, let's just double check the code is complete, because sometimes ChatGPT will do that. They'll give me like the supplementary code, especially when it says paste this once type of stuff. And then maybe we'll come back and say, you know what, you're right, it wasn't complete. Let me give you the single paste of the code. Okay, so now it's going to give me the single paste. Maybe the other one was, by the way, but now it's telling me for sure this is the single paste once in the code and does it all. So we'll wait for that to finish loading, and then we'll copy and then we paste that one more time. While that does that, just for the sake of time, let me refresh my my banking page. And again, I'm not breaking QuickBooks because every time I refresh, it loads again the way it's supposed to load. This is why I like this style of fixing QuickBooks, so to speak, is because you never break anything, right? You're just changing temporarily the way it looks at that moment in time. So let's go back in here. The code is ready. Let's copy this and let's go ahead and console and we'll paste that. So we'll see. Boom, that gets rid of that. Look, that's it. That's exactly what I want. That's exactly what I want. Beautiful. Exactly what I want. So let's close that. Let's open the next one. Exactly what I want. See? I mean, it's not 100% perfect. There's a little leftover space here on the right, but you know what? I don't care. That's not bothering me. This is exactly what I want, right? I wanna have my buttons throughout, and just make sure this works. Make sure I didn't break the buttons in any way. So I'll just keep choose a couple things here. Just make sure that everything that I pick is not broken. Right? That's important, right? Because I don't want to break the interface. And we'll click on post. Okay, that seems like it works. That seems like that posted a transaction. And if we go back to that transaction, let's see if we can open that transaction here. It should have all the information, right? Yeah, it's got the client project, it's got the class, it's got the location information, payee. Good, perfect. So I didn't break anything. So that's great. Now the only challenge here is when I go back into bank feeds. Actually, well, in this case, it didn't because I didn't do a full refresh. But if I do get out of it and come back, like if I fully get out, like in another tab or something like that, it won't save, right? Because it's just temporarily. So if I actually do a hard refresh, on a hard refresh, my features are gonna come back, right? Because that code only works on that specific session that we're working at the moment. So there it is. But now I know the exact code that I need, okay, which is the code that's in here, that I need to be pasting on it when I sit down and do my bank feeds to get rid of that pesky AI suggestion stuff. Give me a lot more real estate. Again, we'll test it one more time here. I'll even test it with this thing collapsed. So come in here, paste that code, boom, and then once I go into every one of the screens, it looks exactly what I want. No big, huge box taking all the space for me. Now I get to see a lot more context. I get to see the box, and I get to see more transactions. Isn't that amazing? So that's it. Now I can get even more. I could get more. You know what? Let's explore even more. Let's just have even more fun. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take another screenshot here, and I'm gonna, now that we're experimenting, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do some like doodling. I'm gonna draw on this screenshot, okay, and then I'm gonna tell it I want to do more things here. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna grab this area, select this memo here, and I'll put a little arrow. And I say, you know what? I kind of want the memo here in the top. Okay. And then let's say I also don't want to see tags. I don't need to see tags. Actually, do I need to worry about removing tags? Let me see if I can if I can remove tags from banking. Give me a second if that's even an option. Let's go back into banking here. Yeah, it doesn't look like I can remove the tags. So that's something I would have to like do. So I'm going to tell it to also get rid of the tags section. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab another box here, and I'm going to have it move that. Okay. And I'm going to put an arrow here on this side. Okay. So I'm actually I'm having AI redesign the thing for me. Now for the tags, I'm going to change the color to maybe green or something like that. And I'm also going to get rid of this, looking for something that has changed. Okay, and okay, this should help me clean things up a little bit. Let's put file upload here on this side. Okay, so I'm gonna give it instructions and move the memo to that side, move the files upload to the bottom, and get rid of the tags and the looking for something thing. Okay, so let me go back. Let me get rid of this screenshot here, and I'm gonna say this script works perfectly. Okay, so let's give it a good job, pat in the back. So if these things ever become robots and come after us, they'll know I'm one of the good ones. So there we go, perfect. Okay, so here's another request. I'm gonna upload the screenshot, and I'm gonna say, okay, now we're gonna explore even further. So notice in the screenshot I gave you, there's 2 red boxes, which are the elements that I want you to physically move. Okay, and then there's arrows telling you where I want those things. But also I want you to get rid of the tags element completely because I don't use it. And then also there is an element that says something like, quote, looking for something, end quote. Let me see, is that what it is? I'll just copy it here. That way I don't mess this up. So just copy and paste that. Okay, perfect. That's good enough. And I'm gonna say, yeah, get rid of that too. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now we got even more creative. We gave it this graphic, kind of said, okay, this is where I want you to go. I told it what I don't want. Okay, hopefully that's very clear. I actually didn't say red or green. I probably should have said that. Maybe it understands it implicitly. So let's see what it comes up with, and then we'll try the new script to see how that works. Okay, let's see. Okay, still going. Should be okay, perfect, almost done. Let's see. Let's copy the code, and let's see how this works. We're gonna refresh this page, okay? Because again, we're gonna kind of reset, go back to how it is at the beginning. Again, nothing that we're doing is permanently being changed, right? This is just temporarily. And we'll paste that code in here. Okay, let's open this up. Okay, kinda. The memo went to the, okay. Well, for the sake of like not, doing hours and hours of video, but notice it did move the memo. But maybe that's not what I wanted. Okay, maybe it didn't understand the assignment so much, but it still did collapse the space. So actually, that's not bad. Actually, let me see if maybe I can get a little bit more creative here. And maybe I'll select that. Actually, let me just go back and do that here. I am going to give it a screenshot. And then I'm also gonna just screenshot this. Okay, I'm gonna go back to it. Upload, I'm gonna upload both things. Okay, so both screenshots, okay? So things were moved around, and I'm grateful for that. However, that's not how I wanted it. Here's a screenshot of what it looks like. The memo actually went all the way to the top. The second screenshot is with me putting my mouse over the elements. And really, it's in that purple area where I would prefer the memo to be. Okay, and just to be sure, I'm gonna choose an element here where there you go, where I'm choosing that piece here. And I'm gonna put here. Here's the HTML code when I selected that newly modified area where the purple space is, which is exactly where I would prefer the memo to be. And the memo would have to be a smaller box too to fit in there. Okay, perfect. I'll paste that code in there. Okay, we'll see what that looks like after it does the next iteration. Okay, there we go. So let's see, you want the memo inside the purple secondary field section, not above it, and size smaller, plus tags, and see what changes removed. Okay, let's see. Okay, here's a single code. So let's wait until that code finishes. And we'll go ahead and copy and paste that. For now, I'll just refresh my bank feeds over here. So we're sort of back to scratch, back to square one. Okay, and there we go. Okay, so right now it's still, this is the default mode, right? With this big box that's here. Now notice how much space, like kind of like, maybe take a picture, you know, with your phone or whatever, so you kind of see how much space this takes. And after we run the script, you know, how much less space it takes. Again, contextually, so I can see more transactions while I have the transaction open. Okay, so this code is ready. Okay, let's copy that and let's see. Let's go into console, clear whatever's in there, paste the code, press enter. Yeah, that's, well, kind of better, almost. It almost made it, but it didn't. Well, that's still an improvement, right? So, you know, that's kind of the thing here is, you know, the attachment button still works. Okay, it looks like, so that's not a problem. The buttons are still there, but I would have to continually go in there and say tweak this, tweak that. And I know I can get there, but I don't want to bore you with, you know, going super long in the video. But I think it's possibly, it's totally doable. It's totally doable. We just have to spend probably another hour or two fighting with artificial intelligence until it gives me the perfect code. But the point I want to make is that once you have the code once, okay? Just have it once, save it somewhere. Then when you first sit down and do your bank feeds, just paste it in here. And then all of a sudden you can, on that session, you can work and have your, you know, you have a lot of your screen back. Didn't get it all, but notice that before I didn't see any transactions. Now I see 6 transactions under it. So it's getting a lot better. It is getting a lot better. I'll try one more thing, just for the heck of it, just so we can, you know, get a little bit more of a win out of this. Let me I'm gonna copy this, okay, and tell it. It didn't quite do what I wanted. Here's the HTML code of what it looks like after the script is plugged. At the end of the day, what I want is that entire area to be much more sort of condensed, right? Less empty space. So could you figure out all the not all, but most of the empty space, and just make that area 40% smaller, right? You could, the elements can be closer together. Let's see if that kind of command works. And then I promise you this will be the last one. the last one while I'm recording, okay? Because I'll continuously be playing with this thing, because there's actually a reason why I do this. Mostly, I don't think accountants are watching these videos and going, wow, I'd love to spend 30 minutes fighting with ChatGPT to get me some sort of code to fix something that QuickBooks should fix in the first place. Like I get the frustration and the feeling of pointlessness that is like, why am I watching this video? Why am I even bothering with this? Well, it's supposed to be 2 purposes. One is to kind of showcase how cool AI is, how powerful it is, and how much you don't really need to know code. You just kind of need to know how to talk to it and how to work it, and you need to know a couple technical things, but not too many. And secondly, for people over at Intuit watching this, right? They're watching this and they go, wow, this makes total sense. But it doesn't matter how much feedback you give them, you know, they just won't get it until they've invested 30 minutes in a video like this going, wow, Hector's right. You know, we should make this screen a lot more streamlined. We should remove that AI thing for the people that want to remove it. Again, I'm not saying that every user is going to benefit from this, but myself, a power user, an accountant that don't need to be looking at these suggestions, this helps me. So let's see if this last request works. So again, maybe take a picture of the space that it takes more or less. Let's see if it achieves making it 40% smaller. Again, I take the 40% number with a grain of salt, but I mean it's a number to shoot for, right? So let's see. Let's open that. So now we see how much space this takes now. Let's go into console, clear this out, paste the code. Okay, that's not sure if that was 40% smaller, but it does feel tighter. And you know what? That's probably the best we can do for the time being. Look at this. Very tight. As long as the drop-down menus still work. Okay, as long as the drop-down menus still work, yep. Yeah, there we go. You can still do that. So cool. So again, the code is here. What I'll do is I'm actually going to share this thing. I'm going to click on create link, and then I'll make this link public so you can click on the chat and try it yourself. You can copy this code, paste it, kind of see what that looks like. Again, you'll break QuickBooks temporarily while you're using it, but once you refresh, you'll come back to what it is. And the reason why I do these type of things is because I want to make QuickBooks better. And because I don't work for Intuit, I don't work for QuickBooks, I can't. I have zero power over making QuickBooks better. But the way I do it is I am the co-founder of a software company called RightTool. I'm going to turn on the extension here for a second and refresh here, because with RightTool, we can inject this type of code into the screens automatically to improve it. And you're actually watching me record a video of watching me develop the concept of a feature that's going to be built into RightTool, right? So basically, that's what I do. I play with it, and then at some point, we build it into the code in RightTool. That way, we can override and sort of hack the user interface of the way QuickBooks looks like, so we can customize it for the power users. This is not for the average business owner. The average business owner probably wants to see this big, huge box of suggestions, right? But most power users, they just want to use the software as a power user. They don't want to be babied and be shown things that they don't need, that don't save them any time. Most accountants don't believe that this AI stuff saves them any time. Actually, hold on, let me copy that code again here so you can see it. But again, as I mentioned, at some point, we will code this into RightTool automatically. We'll call it something like, remove AI/condense bank feeds area. That way, when you come in here into bank feeds, this stuff is done for you automatically, right? So you're not like copying and pasting code or anything like that. So that's kind of the reason why I, an accountant, mess with artificial intelligence to create code, is because eventually I want to enhance my own experience using QuickBooks, and I do it through my extension called RightTool. Anyway, if you watched till the end, God bless you. Thank you very much. If you find this useful, put in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.